Empire Poultry Processing Company has reopened to mitigate the influx demand of poultry products in the Gambia. APRC is yet to unveil the party's flag bearer ahead of the December presidential elections. Guinean authorities are stepping up ahead as they battle simultaneously with COVID-19 and the Ebola outbreak. Nigeria's economy is crumbling as the country seeks for financial support from developing partners. These and more coming on the World News Today. Do stay with us. Good evening, you're watching The World Today. I am Abdullah Sise, and we begin with our national stories. Gambia's Empire Poultry Processing Company has restarted its operation after being shut down due to financial constraints and lack of customers. The Farato Hatchery Farms was initiated in December 2012 with the aim to boost poultry production in the country. Fatoumata Kasim tells us more in this report.
Poultry is becoming a blooming business in the Gambia, with many young people venturing into the industry to boost their source of economic well-being. Nevertheless, local production has thus far been too low to cater for the increasing demand of the poultry products. Empire's company produces at least 100,000 day-old chicks per month, which aim to meet the influx demand of chicken and also minimize the importation into the country. Aissatou Sanyang, the head of Human Resource Management, said they are fully committed to produce enough supply of poultry products to meet its high demand.
We have supplied sufficient chicken for everybody. We don't want anybody to go to Senegal. We don't want anybody to go to Senegal. We have feed in the Gambia. We have, you've seen the hatchery. We have the capacity. We have it. You will see the processing machine, which processes 1,500 chicken an hour to dress it. The full-grown chicken, 1,500, within an hour, it will be finished, dressed completely, clean, ready to go to the freezer and then to consumption. Yes, that's what we want to do. We don't want anybody to go to Senegal. Senegal, they have banned importation of chicken well before this. So that's what we want also the government to assist us. We will be able to supply. If government has ever with these three key production costs, that is the duty waiver for the fowl, NAWEC, how can government help us with NAWEC, and also the foreign exchange, because we don't have parent birds in the Gambia here. We used to have them, but the weather, the climate of the Gambia and the parent birds, they didn't match.
Sanaminte, the hatchery manager, explained the process on how they produce local chickens.
Normally, eggs, they order all the way from Holland.
What we do here at the hatchery is, after importing the eggs from Holland, we incubate them and produce them as local poultry chicken. The cycle process takes 21 days. After the hatching, we take them through a vaccine process. After the vaccination process, that's the time they are set for out to growers. We call them to come and get their chicks. The reason why we vaccine these chicks is because it is very healthy for the chicks. If the chicks are not vaccinated, they will be unhealthy and exposed to diseases.
Daudamboub, head of operations, said the recent bird flu in Senegal that led to the ban of importation of chickens into the country prompted their company to resume operation to mitigate the economic challenges on the Gambian people.
All can be produced here by Gambians, and Gambian farmers can benefit from them. And it will help them, save them from the risk of going all the way to Senegal to bring your day-old chicks, and they will be tired with high mortality rates. And we can produce what you know that is Gambian who are producing these birds and is Gambian who are consuming it. I think that most farmers should get on board, and the government should also come on board and help us so that we can see how best we can expand this poultry farming system for the whole of Gambia to benefit. We are here we took some break for a while, but when we found out that there was a bird flu in Senegal, the importation was banned, said let us step in and help Gambian farmers, because we are all Gambians and we cannot just sit down and watch the poultry industry go down the drain, which is part of the reason why we came back and we load our machines. Every 10 days we are going to produce 25,000.
Commercial and medium poultry producers are mostly found within the Greater Banjul area, where the purchasing power is relatively high, where hotels and restaurants thrive. Stocks ranging from about 500 to over 1,000 birds. This utilizes modern production system, raising exotic day-old chicks imported from Europe or Senegal. The number of enterprises in this category have been declining due to limited availability of day-old chicks, processed fed, and vaccines. For iAfrica News, I am Fatoumata Kasim.
Now, the COVID-19 infection continues to rise in different countries, including the Gambia, prompting authorities alert to deal with the situation. The Gambia government has announced its plan to suspend all public gatherings as measures to contain the virus in the country. Health officials say the country experiencing another lockdown would depend on the increasing number of new cases. More in this report by Ndai Sise.
More than 1.8 million COVID-19 cases have been recorded globally so far, and it has continued to disrupt the world, including the Gambia. The novel coronavirus was first confirmed in West African country in March 2020, as the number of infections continues to increase in the country. The Gambia government has put down measures including the suspension of all public gatherings in the country, effective 8 March, as part of its effort to curb the spread of the virus. The public have since raised concerns as to whether the government will impose a new lockdown. However, the Deputy Director of Health Promotion, Sanjali Trawale, says imposing another lockdown depends on the rapid increase of new cases in the country.
If we see that we are at a very high level, government will be advised on what action to take, and this may include a lockdown. But as I say, it depends on the situation. We are studying the situation, but what we can say is there is an increase. We are seeing cases. So depending on where we may be in future or in the short distance future, we will advise government on what to do.
The health authorities also widen efforts to curtail the spread of the virus by making sure that all travelers in and out of the country without showing COVID-19 negative tests are subjected to quarantine. According to Mr. Trawale, all travelers that are without COVID-19 negative test certificate will be responsible of their own quarantine cost.
And now what we are doing is whoever comes, and because all the passengers by now know that it's a requirement. Traveling to the Gambia is not only Gambia, to any part of the world. It's a requirement that you need to have a certificate to indicate that you are tested and found negative. So similarly, anybody coming to this country, we expect that you come with the certificate. If you don't come or to prove that you've been tested and found negative, we will send you to one of these hotels. At this time, it's at your own cost.
As COVID-19 vaccines rollout continues, only few developing countries benefited from the vaccines to contain the spread of the virus, while other countries, including the Gambia, is yet to receive its share. According to the latest update from the Ministry of Health, the Gambia currently has 4,554 confirmed cases with 144 deaths, while 4,011 people recovered from the virus. Reporting for iAfrica News, I am Daisy Sise.
Gambia's Truth Commission on Monday heard 2 witnesses who were brutalized by bulldozers under the then National Intelligence Agency. The witnesses told the commission that they were arrested for expressing their views on the UDP protest that took place on the 10th of May 2016. Khadija Tuseka reports.
Appearing before the TRRC, Ibrahim Keita and Musa Fofana both testified their first encounter in the hands of the bulldozer, who are believed to be tangent of the NIA. Mr. Keita says he believed he was reported by one Ibrahim John, a member of the bulldozer. Ibrahim Keita says he was detained at the bulldozer complex for his alleged participation in protests who were out to overthrow former Jammeh. Ibrahim Keita says he was detained at the bulldozer complex for his alleged participation in protests who were out to overthrow former President Jammeh.
They asked me what has happened. Then I narrated the whole scene to them, and I told them it was Pajallo who came and found us. Then he asked us, do you know what's happening? He said to him, we don't know what's going on. He said to us, there are people demonstrating at Westfield because the word going around is that they have already killed Solo Sandeng. Then they said to me, but you said something else different from that. Because the way we are sitting here, we got news about you. And when the person who brought this news to us recorded all what you said. I said to them, yes, what I said at that place is what I said here. I said, but if you had really recorded our conversation, play that recording here and so that we can listen to it. At the time I looked on the table, I saw some papers there which were stapled together. He said to me, then it is not worth for us to play that recording for you. He told me what we want is for you to come straight and tell us the truth about what you said, because you are the people who wanted to organize a coup in this country.
After being in detention for hours, Keita says the head of bulldozer team later dressed in masks and referred to himself as an assassin for Jammeh and threatened to kill him.
After he wore that mask, he took out a gun and pointed it at me. Then he asked me, do you know me? I said to him, I don't know you. Then he said to me, I am Amadou Boja. He told me, I am Yaya Jammeh's killer.
Because I must go Nyala Otomo.
By that time he had already worn this mask. He pointed his pistol at me. By that time there was a Coca-Cola bottle on the table. He told me, I will kill you. I will kill you and put your blood in here.
In where?
He said he will kill him and put his blood inside that Coca-Cola bottle.
The other witness, Musa Fofana, also gives account of the torture he faced in the hands of the bulldozers for not accepting their alleged confession.
I told them, well, whatever is the case, you will kill me, but I will not write anything.
Because
I told them because I didn't do anything.
So
when I felt the pain intensely, I decided to pull the pipe from this guy's hand. I told him, my last younger brother can beat you.
Jammeh's NIA indulged in criminal activities including attempts to rig elections, arrest and detention of people, and being hired by private individuals to settle scores with their enemies. For 2 years now, the Gambia's Truth, Reconciliation and Reparation Commission continues to receive revelations of human rights abuses under former President Yahya Jammeh. For iAfrica News, I am Khadija Seka.
Moving on to the political arena now, where Alliance for Patriotic Reorientation and Construction Party, APRC, on Saturday held its 7th Congress ceremony at the Paradise Suites Hotel in Kololi. The party didn't unveil its flag bearer for the 4th December 2021 presidential election, but rather reflected on the past and chart a way forward on the years ahead. Binta Jallow has more in this report.
The former ruling APRC party held their 7th National Congress with a renewed commitment to return to power in the upcoming December 4th presidential election. Thousands of the party's supporters attended the event to renew their loyalty and support for the Green Party. The theme for this year's Congress is Remember Jammeh for Unity, Renewal and Radical Socio-Economic Transformation of the Gambia. Speaking at the event, Fabakary Tombonjata, the party's interim leader, says the APRC government has brought tremendous development throughout the length and breadth of the country. Tombonjata also urged the party's militants and sympathizers to recall the formidable challenges and hurdles they surmounted during the last 4 years, that they were meant to cripple the party.
They were incessant smear campaigns against the Supreme Party leader and our party. Our people were shot to death, massive arrests and detentions, our accounts frozen, our vehicles seized and sold by a compromised commission and TRRC. Refusal to acknowledge and implement the joint communiqué signed between former President Yahya Jammeh, ECOWAS, AU, and the United Nations that led to the former president's departure to Equatorial Guinea, thus enabling a peaceful transfer of power.
Bori Escole, the second deputy party leader of the APRC, outlined the party's effort to regenerate its power, thereby ensuring people's continued believing that their future and fortune lies with the APRC party.
With careful, steered work, APRC has largely managed to reproduce its power status across the four domains: face of the political party, of party organization in relation to people as competitive political parties formulating power through elections, and as a party in command of most of the states.
The former councillor of Ibo Town and New Juswan Ward, Modlamin Bojang, also highlighted the significance of the Congress, saying former President Jammeh is expected to contest for the APRC's flag bearer in the forthcoming December election.
We are expecting Yahya Jammeh to file his application, because the policy of the party is, if you want to be a flag bearer of our party, you have to file in an application that you want to be a flag bearer for APRC. Any other person can apply. Any other person can apply. I'm going to apply because I want to be the flag bearer of APRC. Yahya Jammeh is going to apply because he wants to be the flag bearer of the APRC. And any other person also is going to apply because they want to be flag bearer of the APRC. Now it's left to the Gambian, it's left to the APRC executive and its people and its militants to decide among the applicants who they want to be, who should be their flag bearer.
Founded by the exiled former President Yahya Jammeh, the APRC party ruled the country for 22 years before losing in the December 2016 election. That brought current President Adama Barrow in power as a coalition president backed by several other political parties. The Green Party has renewed its commitment to sweep the polls December 4th presidential elections with a strong back to State House campaign. Reporting for iAfrica TV, Binta Jala.
And with that, we come with a very, very short commercial break. We will be back right after this break. Do stay tuned.
The pride we take in our brand, the work we put into constantly change the landscape and elevate real estate in the Gambia, it's compared to none. From inception, our goal was to add value to the beautiful Gambian landscape. That's why we are proud innovators of community estates. Kololi Sands is an exceptional piece of work, tailored for ultimate convenience and luxury, to bring you an element of finesse that is rare but unique in its own. This is also our pride and joy, and we welcome you to the exquisite beauty right here in Kololi and right here on the waterfront. Kololi Sands. Feel the ocean breeze at your doorstep.
You're still watching the World News Today, and from those national stories, we shift our attention to news beyond our borders. Guinean authorities are closely working with international partners to combat against newly resurgent Ebola disease in the country. Health authorities say the new outbreak could affect the efforts to contain COVID-19 pandemics, and residents in Conakry also expressed their concerns of the situation. Guinea is among the West African countries that were hardly hit by the first outbreak in 2013.
The country is once again facing a new wave of the Ebola virus.
There will be a fact-finding mission sent to demarcate the area that is incriminated and the villages of all the people who took part in the burial ceremony in order to identify contacts and isolate them. Afterwards, there will be a second mission that will take some time to be able to provide the answer to the source of this new outbreak. This mission will seek to find out whether it is an old disease that has awakened in the body of the patient or whether it is from wild animals such as bats that are incriminated in the genesis. We also made contact with the WHO. This time we are going to use our fatal weapon against Ebola, which is vaccination.
The World Health Organization is sending 11,000 doses of Ebola vaccines to Guinea.
Support will be deployed across all pillars of the response, including coordination, care and support, infection prevention and control, surveillance, community engagement, risk communication, logistics, human resources and finance. We will rapidly deploy capacity to support Guinea, which already has much more experience.
Nearly 11,300 people died in the Ebola epidemic that gripped Guinea between 2013 and 2016. The deadly virus has re-emerged as the country struggles to contain COVID-19. Health experts say the new outbreak is likely to impact ongoing efforts against the coronavirus.
This impact can be seen through the psychological state of the affected populations in Zerekure and through the general concern of Guineans about this very dangerous Ebola epidemic. In addition to the psychosocial impact, the resurgence of Ebola will impact the country's economy as the government will spend more money. The National Health Security Agency is also obliged to carry out additional site-oriented strategies, and all these activities and equipment are expensive.
Growing concern continues to plague the residents of Conakry as the country ramps up its Ebola response.
When the virus appeared in 2014, things were not easy, especially for us who live in the interior of the country. Every day there were deaths, which is why we are worried.
I am very worried, and I hope that the government will immediately take every adequate measure to circumscribe the second wave in the Nzerekure area so that the virus does not spread throughout the entire territory as it did in the first time.
Guinea's health ministry said all confirmed cases had been isolated. These reported cases of Ebola virus are the first in West Africa since 2016.
Nigeria's economy into serious pressure, leaving authorities to scramble for more financial support. The West African country's debt level is projected at about $92 billion, and the government wants to borrow more to resuscitate the economy. But some economic experts did not welcome the move, saying the country's debt situation is becoming almost unbearable. Details in this report.
Nigeria has a serious cash crunch made worse by COVID-19 and low oil prices. The government has been borrowing massively to fund its budget. Despite the country's current debt level estimated at around $92 billion, the government wants to borrow more. It's increased its borrowing limit by raising the amount it is allowed to borrow as a proportion of its GDP from 25% to 40%. But some economic experts are against the idea.
There is almost a consensus at this time that our debt profile is already approaching a threshold that we cannot consider to be sustainable. If we look at the components of our resources, of our revenue, that we commit to debt service, it says sometimes close to 60%. If we look at the component of debt service in the budget compared to our capital allocation and other very vital budget heads, it's quite heavy. So, and we know that the capacity of the government to service debts is becoming increasingly challenging.
Nigeria is currently spending big to service its debts. In the third quarter of last year, the cost of debt servicing rose by 89%. Many fear racking up additional debts could worsen things for the country. But the government says the intended borrowing is only for the period of 2020 through 2023. It's also taking measures to shore up its revenues to ensure its obligations are met.
There's also a lot of improvement on our revenue generation. Even though we haven't gotten to where we want to be, but we have seen a steady increase in the revenue from 2018 to today, and we expect that trajectory to continue as we implement the strategic revenue and growth initiative.
Part of the new debt management strategy will also prioritize domestic borrowing over external loans. The government says it will focus more on long-term domestic instruments.
Perhaps that may make some sense, because in the last 1 or 2 years, it's looking as if it's becoming cheaper to borrow domestically than to borrow externally. If you look at the yield on treasury bills, on federal government bonds, these things are around 1%, 2%, 3% at best. So it's becoming cheaper to borrow domestically than to borrow externally. And generally, in terms of managing debt, it is often easier to manage debts that are in domestic currency than debts that are in foreign currency.
The new borrowings will most certainly drive up the size of Nigeria's debt, but the government insists the country's debt level is sustainable and still within global recommended threshold. It says without the new borrowings, it will be more than challenging for it to meet its financing needs and get the country on the path of growth.
To Kenya now, where 2 disabled DJs are making headwaves as they stage online performances despite their ability challenges rather. The 2 entertainers were struggling to perform in their communities, but that soon changed after the coronavirus landed in Kenya. As we feature this report, the 2 DJs explained what motivated them.
On the outskirts of Kenya's capital, Nairobi, Robert Kimotho, whose stage name is MC Robsy, and Joseph Kamau, also known as DJ Skylar, are setting up for an afternoon show. The 2 are online entertainers despite having physical disabilities.
We decided to look for a place where we can be able to be expressing ourselves and practicing whatever we have learned on DJing.
They have had to find other ways of making it as DJs, with event organizers refusing to give them a chance.
The community normally says that persons with disability, they are beggars. So whenever you go to an office, many were giving us maybe 50 bob as a sign of just helping you. They don't want to listen to what you want to say or what you want to be helped. So they just take you as a beggar.
Kimotho says such encounters kept demoralizing them until COVID-19 landed in Kenya early last year. And that presented the 2 DJs a platform to showcase their talents.
You know, online, it doesn't need any permission to play. You just need maybe the data or the Wi-Fi and the smartphone. But you know, the gigs, you just need to go to maybe the organizers, and many of them, they reject.
They say they don't want to be seen as people with disability, but great DJs who happen to have certain disabilities.
We just wanted people to know that we are capable of doing what other DJs are doing. So we were very happy whenever we were live, and then we see people saying you are motivating us. Any positive vibes, they are coming to us. So it really motivated us and kept us doing it more and more.
People are happy with what we are doing. Many are motivated, and some saying, if I can be a DJ with just 1 active toe, why will people say there are no jobs?
Like other aspiring DJs out there, the duo want to continue developing their craft and hope to one day perform at live events.
Some rather inspiring story there. Well, with that, we come to the end of this news bulletin. Thank you for watching. Do join us tomorrow at the same time. Bye-bye.
Gambia may be the smallest country in Africa, but it will host the second largest gathering of world leaders in 2022. To successfully host the OIC Summit and put the Gambia on the global stage, the government of the Gambia set up OIC Gambia to mobilize resources for the implementation of key development and infrastructure projects on a scale never seen before. 20 new roads will be constructed across the country, and the Bertel-Harding Highway will be expanded into a dual carriage highway of 2 lanes on each side from the airport to Sting Corner. All people in the Gambia deserve clean water and a constant flow of electricity. Therefore, an entirely new water system will be constructed, including new transmission and distribution networks to meet the increasing demand. In order to provide a more reliable supply of electricity, the OIC Gambia project will replace and double the capacity of the NAWEC transformers and overhead electric cables. We will equip the police with modern apparatus and technical training in an effort to keep the streets of the Gambia safe. By building the largest international conference center in the region, a 5-star hotel with state-of-the-art facilities, first-class mobility services, and improving the VVIP experience at the Banjul International Airport, OIC Gambia will position the Gambia as the leading conference destination in West Africa. With our partners in the tourism sector, we will reinforce the preeminent position of our nation, the Smiling Coast, as a go-to destination. The OIC Gambia will create strategic partnerships that calls for the involvement of local talent and businesses as a matter of requirement. In short, OIC Gambia projects will create jobs, boost commerce, accelerate growth, improve the urban outlook and lifestyles of many families across the Gambia. So let's support the OIC Gambia as it prepares us for one of the biggest global events. OIC Gambia, building today for a better tomorrow.